moving on to our next panel discussion on opportunities for the mobile ecosystem, I would like to call upon stage our panelists, Dr. K Upadhyay, CEO, C. Arpita Paul, Managing Director, Communications, Media and Technology, Accenture, India. Arvind Bali, CEO, TSSC. Professor N.K. Goyal, President, CMAI and Chairman Emeritus, TEMA. And to moderate the session, I would like to call upon Jaideep Ghosh, COO, Shardul, Amarchand, Mangaldas and Company. May I invite all our panelists and the moderator on the stage, please.
All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and the co-panelists. We have this topic on opportunity for mobile ecosystem to be discussed in about 40-45 minutes is what I think so has been given. Now, in terms of mobile ecosystem, so I was thinking, and I really don't know how to define a mobile ecosystem because there's so many elements to it. And at the simplest level, one can say it's like combination of hardware, software, apps, so on and so forth. But then there's so many other elements. There's a carrier, there's a network, there's an infrastructure with this tower. There are other elements of, and finally the customer. So it's fairly complicated in terms of how these elements work. But one thing we all know, with more number of mobile connections than human beings in the world, and with approximately 90% of world's population having access to mobile phone, seemingly our lives are encapsulated in the 6.5 inch of the shiny glass object that we usually have in our hand or somewhere close to us. It looks like the entire mobile system is what is kind of a key driver and element of our daily lives. So we'll have a discussion in terms of taking some views on a range of topics. Let me start with the lady. So Arpita, in terms of mobile ecosystem, or if you can extend it to a telco ecosystem also, what are the opportunities for innovation and growth that you see? And my request to all the panelists is that we keep the remarks little short so that we can come back and have more rounds of discussion. Over to you, ma'am.
So, thank you, Jaideep, for this putting this question together. I would, of course, be talking about not only about the mobile ecosystem and, of course, extended to the telco ecosystem also. So, we are currently in a very interesting time for the telecom industry, I would say, because there are certain macro trends that we have been observing, and I'm sure you have been hearing throughout the day, which we have been observing. So the first macro trend that we see is there's a huge growth in digital connectivity. Now, once this digital connectivity is growing, there's a huge growth in the device connectivity, the connected devices. We have these connected devices, which leads to a huge amount of data which is getting culled out of these connected devices. And similarly, then there are applications which are evolving around these connected devices and offerings and solutions which are being created around these applications. And the major game changer in and around the telco ecosystem is, again, what we just spoke about is the 5G technology, which comes in with its excellent features in terms of low latency, high speed, high reliability, and so on and so forth. So, with all these macro trends in play, we see that there are a lot of opportunities. Of course, there are challenges, but there are a lot of opportunities that come into play. So these are the things which we should actually be focusing on when we talk about the large telco clients. So as Accenture, we engage with multiple telecom service providers, and also we engage with enterprises. We bring our global technical strategies in place, and we work with them and create solutions which will in a way bring out the full potential of 5G as a technology. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and good to know what Accenture is doing. So let me come to you, Dr. Upadhyay. In terms of, the which you all have heard about and probably will hear a little bit more later part of this afternoon, is the India 4G stack and the 5G stack, which is, uh, till now, by and large, in spite of, India being, large numbers of subscribers because of the huge population, large data consumption, possibly the highest and one of the cheapest data price, etc. But mostly we relied on international, technology platforms, etc. largely. But now with the India stack, where, C dot, of course, is one of the key player, why don't you share a little bit of the experience and how that could pave the way for far more, indigenous of the, of the technology elements in telecoms? Over to you.
Thank you, Jaideep. I think somewhere in 2020, because of geopolitical issues, the event that happened in Galwan, it was decided that, the country should have its own 4G, its own 5G. And of course, government has a larger goal. The program under Atmanirbhar Bharat was launched. That was not only meant for telecom, but almost all the industries. Telecom becomes much more important because it connects the other critical infrastructure. You would have heard of power outages in certain cities. You would have heard of phones getting tapped, your data getting leaked, your conversation being heard. So from there are two perspectives to it. It was an economic perspective. Do we continue to import? We import currently $70 billion even today. $70 billion worth of electronics components and the products we. So the other argument was, apart from the economic argument, the security argument. Should we as a sovereign country depend on the technology which I have no control? And therefore this task was given, and we formed a consortium along with TCS as a system integrator, bringing all the other items, Tejas as radio, and we as core equipment. We started, I'm not saying that 20 we were ready, it was a POC. We took this POC, and I'm very happy to report that this POC was successful, and now the commercial order is getting placed, I think almost in a day or few days. This service will be launched somewhere in next month in Punjab, wherein the core what we have developed is 4G and 5G. The radio what Tejas has developed is 4G, which is capable of to be upgraded in 5G within this year. So it was, and all the other system like SON, your NMS, your Synops, your billing, your brand management, revenue assurance, everything what is required for a telecom operator to run was given by TCS. So if you ask me a question today, is there any place where A to Z of telecom operator is under one roof? It is with TCS. Even if TCS quotes today anywhere in the world for 4G and 5G, it can supply A to Z component. It is unheard. Typically, we had problem of integrating. We have to integrate with Huawei, we have to integrate with ZTE, Nokia, Ericsson. It takes time. Nobody will help you out because naturally it is a competition. Therefore, I feel the government's push towards this, and the government has also come up with many schemes like PLI, Production Linked Incentive, Design Linked Incentive, ISM of 76,000 crore, PMP, Electronic Manufacturing Cluster. I think n number of schemes government has come up to see that we become a manufacturing hub for rest of the world, which supplies state-of-the-art, trusted telecom gear to rest of the world. So I'll come back the time permits.
Oh, thank you. I think this, it's amazing to hear that all elements of the stack, is developed here and it's self-reliant. I think C. Tejas and the TCS and everybody else involved needs deserves a round of appreciation. So, ladies and gentlemen, so let me move to Professor Goyal now. In terms of we've heard the India stack, we've heard from Arpita in terms of the overall trends. Now in India, let me come to digital public infrastructure of the country, which has gained a lot of reputation, starting with, of course, Aadhaar, then banking, and then fintech. We all know. I mean, the transactions are growing like almost doubling. 91% growth in transactions in 2022 of UPI, and I think some 75% growth in the rupee value, and so on and so forth. The COVID vaccine platform, so on and so forth. But all this is largely enabled by the mobile, ecosystem, largely. So, what's your view? How can this be further leveraged in other areas beyond, financial services, so that we become not only all the more those kind of gaming etc. is all fine, but how it can serve the people of the country from the rural area till the urban through the public infrastructure. Over to you, please.
Thank you very much. Before I say, let me compliment first PG for the wonderful program, whole day program. Hats off to PG. I'm saying about PG. प्रदीप गुप्ता जी, आपके लिए बात कर रहा हूँ. थोड़ा इधर भी ध्यान दे दीजिए, आपके लिए बोल रहा हूँ. Compliment to PG and his team for this job. Very big compliment. And compliment on behalf of 130 crores of Indians to CDOT. You have brought pride to us. Whenever, because as an association, I'm dealing with 74 countries, large base of members. Wherever you go now, they talk of CDOT. Everyone knows CDOT, everyone knows 4G, 5G. And entire world is looking for changing over the equipment which were brought from one border country to other countries. So far, they had choice of only two countries. India has become now third. Not only third, India has become the trusted company because only we have the policy of trusted products. Nobody in the world has. So thanks to CDOT for this. Very big thank you. Now, coming to the topic, within 2 minutes, I will talk in 4 sections. Mobile has become talk of the town. It has grown manifold, multifold, especially during the COVID days. India is a showpiece in the world for mobile. All whatever names you use, we are using it big way. We have big success stories. I'm not repeating them. It is not only used in health or other thing, but also in the education sector, everywhere, social sector. Today, thinking of a life with a mobile is unimaginable. If you want, in my office, if I want to punish somebody, I take away his phone for 2 days. He cannot leave. The scope is there, the applications, the services, the operators, tremendous thing. Second point, I am coming to the other side, which usually we don't talk. Sir, as per the statistics of ITU, of which I am the vice chairman here, there are 3 billion people unconnected in the world out of 6 billion. Now, we talk of the world as one community and all those things, and 3 billion are unconnected. Nobody wants to talk for them. Our government also started a slogan, nobody to be left behind. There are slogans and there are schemes by UN, by UNESCO, everybody. But the fact is they still remain uncovered. Why? Why can't we do that? There are lots of discussions which can go, but this remains a priority area if we have to go to the entire mobile community. The way India is going, it will be totally mobile. And another issue which nobody wants to listen is the quality of network. I'm sure when we talk in Delhi also we don't get network. Today morning was a conference of TRI, and for 15 minutes we all were haggling about the speed and are you able to hear me, are you able to hear me? Nobody wants to answer this question. Nobody wants to think for that thing. In fact, the way we are developing mobile, it is a fundamental right and there are some court orders also. Now my third point comes up. Very good to have mobile, very good to have mobile payments, but if I lose your money, if I lose your data, then there is no answer. No answer. And if I die today with my Apple phone in my hand, there is no way that the phone can be transferred to my daughter or my son. Why? That's my third point. Fourth point was, I'm taking some clue from Mr. Sushant's speech if he's here. He talked of hype. Sir, who makes the hype? Not me, not you. Hype is made by somebody sitting somewhere for a technology. we are implementing 5G now, and India has become the speedest country in the world to implement 5G. But hype is now for 6G. So who makes the hype? Thank you.
So let me come to the, all this is fine, 5G and we have the 6G vision at least released and opportunities and 4G stack, etc. But we need people and we need skilled people. So in that context, I'll of course come back to you with a broader perspective of skilling, but coming to the mobile ecosystem or the telecom technology ecosystem, why don't you share some of the things which is happening, telecom, of course, skill council, but also otherwise. And it will be good to, apart from the more, if I may say so, glamorous area of, AI and 3D printing, robotics, also, basic things like handset repairing and more, ground level things. A little bit of perspective you can share with all of us here, Mr. Bali.
Good evening. So first of all, I think as far as mobile ecosystem is concerned, as Dr. Goyal was saying that, like we have to see there are multiple components. So when I moved from telecom to skilling side 3.5 years back, we were trying to increase our base, trying to reach out to maximum industries. So we had a business development team. So I asked them कि आप लोग इंडस्ट्री को कांटेक्ट क्यों नहीं करते हो? तो उनका पॉइंट था कि इंडस्ट्री में भी है क्या, 3 ऑपरेटर, 3 टावर कंपनीज और 3 इक्विपमेंट मैन्युफैक्चरर्स, तो उनको बात करते हैं, उससे आगे है नहीं. सो आई टू टेक एन एक्सरसाइज एंड देन आई स्टार्टेड गाइडिंग देम एंड वी एंड अप गेटिंग, आई सेड ओके लेट्स डिफाइन कि हम किसको एक कंपनी बोलते हैं. 20-50 करोड़ का जिसका बिजनेस होगा एटलीस्ट उसको तो कंपनी बोलेंगे. सो दे से यस दैट्स ट्रू. So I end up getting them a list of almost more than 6,000 companies in telecom. Same way, like when we were talking about telecom ecosystem, like what is telecom, right? So we have actually a tree which shows there are 30 different arms of telecom, like where we have to really work. And telecom, mostly when we talk about networks, infrastructure, and we also talk about mobile handsets. These are the things, but I think there are another 27 elements which are beyond that. Now coming to handset, like the revolution, in my opinion, the real revolution came, one was because of the mobility, but the second revolution came when it ate away the pager, mobile ate away the pager. So SMS came into the mobile, and then the desire came that email should come into the mobile, then the camera, then the Walkman, and like now you know that everything is there in your handheld device, it is your TV, it is everything, music system. Then, is it over now? Not yet. I think I was few weeks back, I was in IIT Delhi where we are putting up a skill center of excellence. And I was talking to some of the researchers over there. In mobile field today, the areas what they are looking at is, they say that why we should have sniffing dogs, why can't mobile do that job? Or, like wire fire sensors, those cannot be put in mobile phone. Wherever you need, whatsoever, everything should be there. So those are the kind of development which are taking place. So anything and everything what is coming to our mind, we want that all that should be there in the handheld device. Now coming further to that, there was a question somewhere asked that, like in India, the population is say 1.3 billion. So what will be the ultimately SIM sold, right, in 2030? And most of people said that, oh, we will probably achieve 1.2, 1.3 billion. But the real answer was that by 2030, we should be having more than 7 billion SIMs. And this is expected to go to almost 50 billion in 2040-45, because all connected devices will have a sensor, which will be SIM, which will be communicating with something or the other. So all that is like broadening our overall ecosystem. And then with that, 5G when it came, we all read that 5G is just an enabler of various use cases. So we have got drones, we are hearing, it has become an industry of its own. IoT, it has become an industry of its own. Machine learning, industry 4.0. All these things, ultimately whatsoever developments are happening, it is all happening around mobility, it is happening around telecom, and that's why I think the space is increasing and the sphere is increasing. No wonder, like we are almost 9% of India's GDP in telecom because the system is so large and so big. So on skilling part, as far as demand of skilling is concerned, is a huge. We everywhere, wherever we are going, we are finding that there are shortage of manpower, shortage of people. Just to give you an example, uh, even like our grandmothers, mothers, like if their phone is not working even for half an hour, they get very, very uncomfortable. And that is true in cities and villages and the remotest of the villages. Everywhere, same mentality. Now, imagine there are 650,000 villages in this country. At least each village should have at least two technicians who can handle those problems. So we need close to 13 lakhs experts who can really handle problem related to handset. Same way, when we are talking, there are towers going everywhere. There are satellite connections going everywhere. Fiber is being laid out everywhere. Now, fiber per nature, like there are fiber cuts. So you need splicers, you need technicians who know how to really splice the fiber. So you cannot afford to send every time there is a fiber cut from a big city or a big town to a remote area. Practically, you need to have people everywhere. And that is why at Telecom Sector Skill Council, we have now come out with a real village level multi-skill courses. Whereas, like one single person will know how to really do troubleshooting of the handsets. He also knows how to splice a fiber. He knows how to make FTTH connection. He'll also know how to really do some little thing on this, and they will not only be working for themselves like a free entrepreneur, they will be taken on demand by big companies, the way, like other ecosystem is working. So there's a huge areas which need to be worked on, and I think we are really working on that.
That's good to know. Absolutely, brilliant at the village level. I did say I'll come back to you, Dr. Upadhyay. Beyond 4G and 5G stack, overall CDOT, you are the frontier R&D organization of the country. You've got so many MOUs and association recently, I think, with IIT Delhi and international also. What other things are happening? I mean, in summary, if you could share with all of us here.
Yeah, I think the prime role of CDOT is to facilitate the ecosystem. And therefore, I'll just touch upon few things what we are doing. As you are aware, government-funded 5G test lab test bed is already working in IIT Chennai. We are funding 100 5G labs in the universities. We have already funded very recently a big amount to startups for developing 5G radio. We run a telecom technology development fund, which is 500 crore. I mean, CDOT is the implementing agency, wherein we will fund anything happening in the 5G space. If people want to, develop some technology for the country, because as I said that we have to, because we have the talent. I think that is well realized that we have the best talent. We were never thinking that we can do it. So now, since government has thought that we should do it, so it is happening. So we have TTDF 500 crore. We have CDOT collaboration research policy 100 to 100 crore. We have DCIS scheme, which is another 150 crore. So there is no problem of funding the startups, and we ourselves are setting up big OTIC, what we call Open RAN test labs in Bangalore and Delhi. It will be open to the industry. You don't have to, one tool comes in 10 crore, 15 crore. I don't think any startup can, afford that. So we are creating these kind of things. We have complete IoT IM2M setup, which is Release 3 1.2M2M platform, which is again open to the industry. So today what we are saying that whatever CDOT is having, it is available to the industry almost at no cost, because we want our entrepreneurs to come up. We have already, for example, we have Center of Innovation, we have entrepreneurship cell in Bangalore and Delhi, and I invite our startups to come in our place. We'll give them space, we'll give them internet, we'll give them power, we'll give them mentorship, we'll give them our 5G complete system. Please come and work with us, and the money, whatever comes out of your invention or goes to you, we will not take it. So government is very clear that we will invest into the ecosystem, we'll facilitate the ecosystem, We are not becoming competitor. We are basically want to become the facilitator for the industry. So now since we have core, we have radios, we have IoT systems, we have routers, we have Wi-Fi, we have cyber security. We have been working with the startups. So we want to invite the startups to work. For example, AI. Somebody was talking about one of the system we developed, of course, using a startup, is an attendance system. When you walk into office without touching anywhere, it sees your face, recognizes you, and makes your attendance system. At the same time, if a wrong guy is entering, it goes to the database using 5G, sees that what are his credentials. The camera itself, the unit itself can store approximately 3,000 criminal photos there, images. So 3,000 are automatically detected. But even if you get little doubt, it will go to the police network, CCTNS, and find out whether these. So gates will open. So many things are happening in AI. So tremendous possibilities are there for the ecosystem. Money is not an issue. Government will fund. You should have an idea. You please come. Recently, we funded 6G test lab, 192 crore. One 6G test lab was funded. Advanced optical lab was funded. 6G vision document has been out. 6G already proposals are being invited. There's a good time for the industry, especially the startup ecosystem, because such a thing was not available earlier. If a startup has to get something, it has to really struggle hard. Today we are saying we will make every facility available to you. Please come, we'll fund you, bring up an idea and take the money out.
That's very encouraging, for startups and everybody. And the good thing all of us are learning from you, and probably most of us are aware, is that all of it is happening in India. It's very self-reliant. That's very encouraging to know. So many opportunities, we've hearing, and not only in this session, previously also, just the previous one on 5G and enterprise, etc. So you work closely with enterprise. Yeah. So what do you think are those challenges which the enterprises need to kind of navigate through? Opportunities are there. What some of the challenges, if you could share with brief?
So I would say, rather than the challenges, it is always better to convert these challenges into opportunities again. So we discussed, first of all, I would like to, this was really insightful in terms of how the government of India is, working towards enabling our citizens. That's real great work. Parallelly, we are working with the enterprise clients. We are working with telco customers, telco service providers. I just discussed about the macro trends which are going on. Now, while these macro trends come in, we propose to our enterprises and service providers that whatever strategies they are deciding, technology should be at the central of those strategies. And keeping technology as the center of those strategies, there are 4 forces. Ideally, we generally engage with them and we request them to work towards these 4 forces, which can be converted into opportunities. So the first one is digital transformation and total reinvention of their enterprises, right? That's one area. The second area that they can work on is look at new business models, new services, new products, which can be converted into opportunities. Third area, which is very interesting, is your completely ever evolving consumer. So a very small example would be a consumer who is looking at converged experience. So when I'm in my house and when I am on my broadband, and then when I move out on the road with my handphone on my mobile, I would request, I need a seamless experience. So the ask of the consumer is ever evolving, and that again leads to multiple opportunities for enterprises and telecom service providers. And last but not the least, of course, we touched upon it, is the reinventing skills, because telco is no longer about only network engineering. It is about cloud, it is about AI, it's about automation, it's about edge computing. So there's a huge set of skills that the enterprises and service providers need to look towards, and we work hand in hand with them on these areas.
Fantastic points you made. We'll revisit the skill part in a very quick time. One thing I wanted to highlight, which is not really a core part of the agenda, is the issue around sustainability. which is very important in whatever we do, not only in mobile ecosystem, but since we're speaking about broadly the telecom mobile in this forum today. So one initiative globally which has started, probably 3-4 months ago is around the sustainability, the circularity of the economy in the mobile ecosystem. Actually the telecom industry was the first industry which subscribed to and agreed to follow the UN, the Sustainable Development Goals, the UN, 17 SDG, which is the first industry, 2016. It's not that much known. It's the polluting industries which are more, well known about, SDG, etc. And now there are two themes. One is around, longevity of devices. So rather than changing the mobile phones every, say, 18, 20 months, if it could be changed later on, so that, there is then, of course, refurbishment, etc. Other is zero waste and, sourcing of raw material to, manufacturing and so on and so forth. That's something which we need to, keep in mind, doing everything that we are discussing here or we have been talking, here and beyond this forum. It said, this is GSMA research I was reading a few days ago, that if all of us in the world extend our mobile usage by 1 more year, like instead of changing it in say 2 years, if we do it in 3 years, and if we do it, then every year we'll preserve around 21 million CO2. And if that's done consistently in 2030, about 5 million cars can be taken off the road. That much equivalent, 5 million cars, vehicles can be taken off the road, as if that much carbon dioxide has been reduced from the environment just by using the phone for 1 more year. That's the kind of impact on sustainability. We have limited time. The time has been actually cut down on the fly, much to surprise of some of us. But I'll still have quick comments which Arpita mentioned in skilling. Skilling is fine. What about job opportunities? I'll come to you later on, Professor Goyal. Very quick words on bridging the divide, unconnected versus connected. But Mr. Bali first.
So job opportunities are huge. Even the area where you were saying sustainability, we are scaling people on e-waste and those areas. But as far as job opportunities are concerned, I think it is probably one sector where across the level there is a huge demand. Today, like 5G rollouts are happening, and 5G rollouts are not only limited by upgradation, but also, like lot of in-building, enterprise, everywhere there are rollouts happening. And it is probably getting impacted because of not availability of manpower, especially when we talk about tier 3, tier 4 towns. So government has taken initiative. Secretary DOT himself was leading this initiative, conducting monthly meeting. And we have got special targets to train 5G manpower for tower technicians, for rollouts, for in-building areas, etc. So we are actually very well engaged with the industry. So industry has a demand. That is very good thing. Second is there is also college students, school students, even school dropouts, ITI students. Everybody is getting jobs. So only thing is, yes, maybe a more robust system of skilling training is done, and we are in touch with the industry, take their inputs, train the manpower, and then in return provide them the manpower. Thank you.
Thank you. You mentioned about unconnected. If you, a lot of people, if you look at India, urban teledensity, 130%, rural teledensity, 57%, not even half. Is the mobile ecosystem, all that we're talking about is in this 5-star hotel, is this unfavorably biased towards the urban? How to bridge this divide?
I will take 30 seconds. One, you talked of longevity of mobile phone. It is impossible. So I'm trying to get attention. We talked of longevity. It is impossible so long as a technology improvement comes up from somewhere else. Second, the cost of device. We used to get 2G phone for 300 rupees in Crore Bagh. Now we don't work for less than 15,000. These are the two factors. They will continue to do how to bridge the unconnected devices or areas. I think a time has come in terms of our Anshu Prakashji as secretary. Whenever elections are there, let us demand, we want connectivity here. We want system here. Because we are forced to use digital payments and digital things, this should come to us as a right. Thank you.
Do we have time for, no, we don't have time. Okay, all right. I think then, sorry, we cannot interact with you because the time was reduced pretty much on the fly. I must tell that. It's not that me or anybody else has taken more time. So thank you very much, the panelists, and thank you so much for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.